Hey legends, I'm just sitting outside having an orange and I thought I'd film my intro. I started this video yesterday, but I didn't do the intro for a couple of reasons. Couldn't tell you them now, but anyway, there were reasons. This orange is so good. Probably shouldn't be eating a orange while I'm talking to you. So this video is a little bit different to some of the other ones I've done. Mind you, do I have a stock standard? Probably not. My last video I put out to you, I really struggled quite a bit with it, and I very nearly I nearly gave up on it. The only reason I didn't is because I didn't want to let you guys down, but I also, the algorithm loves consistency and I just didn't want to go backwards with. I kind of eventually got it out and I went, I'm drained. I was feeling really drained mentally, physically, not just because of the YouTube video, just my mental health in general. And so I was watching a couple of YouTube videos and I came across a video by Orla Stevens, she's amazing. We kind of have the same message about being expressive and loose and letting go of perfectionism. But she did exercise where she spent half an hour a day in her sketchbook and she had a different prompt each day. And I thought, I like that. I'm gonna steal that and tweak it a little bit. So what I am doing for this week is I am doing sketchbook practice for my mental health. What that means is I've set myself a prompt each day that I'm excited about. And the whole goal of this is not to make artwork to sell, but it's to make me happy. Art as therapy. The art is my therapy this week. I am feeling really drained and flat mentally, like mental health wise, so I need something to ground me again and to make me feel happier than what I currently am and less over it all kind of thing. Because I kind of had this moment this week where I was like, geez, I wish I loved my day job, because I miss having my weekends, because my weekends are just so solely dedicated to me building my business and building my social media, my Instagram, my YouTube. That's what my weekends are dedicated to. And I sat there and I went, geez, I wish I loved my day job so that I could literally stay home on the weekend and, you know, you do a bit of cleaning around the house, but then just, if I want to sit down and watch Netflix, I can, you know. But anyway, that was bad timing. No one wants to see me eat. So I've got 7 prompts for 7 days, and if you choose to join me, I want you to take the focus away from making amazing art or making something cool or interesting even, and just making for the fun of it, making to make ourselves feel better and feel good. Because that's one of the massive benefits of ugly art, is that it helps our mindset, especially when we are people pleasers and we're perfectionists. This helps rewrite that a little bit. Now, if you want to change it, go for it. I'll have a chat. As we go through each day, I'll do a voiceover. I didn't want to make it too taxing on myself, so essentially what I'll do is I recorded each of the days and then I do a bit of a voiceover talking about what I've done and what you can do. Now, if you want to change it, go for it. Just pick 7 things over 7 days that make you happy. If it's gardening, go out and do some gardening. Go back to yourself, fill your own cup, for the lack of a cliche, for a cliche's benefit. Because that's what I'm doing this week. And as you can see, I've literally just gotten home from work, peeled an orange because I'm hungry, and I'm going to jump into my shed and do day 2, which I'm actually excited. I had to stop myself not doing it yesterday. So yeah, change them. I'll give you some suggestions along the way, things that you can do, or you can just copy exactly what I'm doing. Entirely up to you. So yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope you do some artist therapy today too. Enjoy. Get your sketchbook out. Let's just make some art for fun. For fun. have fun, be happy. Let's go.
Hello, future Courtney here. So today, day one was just to get outside and draw in my garden. Normally my garden has loads and loads of flowers, but we are just at the end of winter, beginning of spring at the moment. So I just drew the flowers that we have. And actually later on you'll see I actually draw my protea tree, which hasn't flowered yet. But I'm hoping this year's the year. Woo. But I just love the structure of the leaves. So this plant that I'm drawing now is the one down on the ground there. You can kind of see it next to the smiley face emoji plant thing we've got. For this one, I went into my pencils and I grabbed, I think, 5 pencils that I thought would work well as a good colour palette. That included yellow, because I love yellow, but I just don't know how to use it. So there's like this neon yellow. That pencil there is a neon yellow. Then I've got a pastel pink, a pastel blue, a darker blue, and then a dark purple. So my rule of thumb is, I try to do this anyway. You kind of have 2 darks, 2 lights, and a medium, and a mid colour. Or you could do 2 darks, 2 mids, 1 light. As long as you've got a spread across light, medium, dark. I'm so sorry. You can see my boobs at the side there. My apologies. That's going to be a theme the whole way through this video. And I was just trying to experiment here with using, okay, what if I use the light colour as the outline? What if I use the dark colour? How does the yellow go with the purple? How does the yellow go with the blue? All that stuff. So this here is my protea tree. It's still quite young. I think it's only been in about 2 or 3 years. So it's, like I said, hasn't flowered yet. I've got my fingers crossed for this year. We've just started spring, so let's see. And I was just picking different, like the tips of the branches where potentially a flower would grow. And just trying to, really more of a study more than anything of how those leaves kind of line up and how to draw them and represent them in my drawing. Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention, for this day, I'm drawing in my recycled bags sketchbook. This sketchbook was made out of Woolies brown shopping bags that I get when I have my groceries delivered. These were actually the side bits, the smaller panels. The larger panels are made of larger sketchbook, funnily enough. And here we go, day 2. This day I was actually really excited about. I had this idea to do these animal thumbnails where I do just like animal silhouettes. So it was kind of like a bit of a study in composition. So I started off doing some little fish, as you can see here, but I struggled to make the silhouette of the animal really stand out, especially when I zoom in on the face. So I actually didn't do the silhouette on a couple of fish that I ended up doing. And then I moved into just using birds. So for the rest of them, there's a couple of fish there, and then the rest of them are just birds. Now here I'm using Inktense blocks, and I'm alternating each row between indigo and black. Looking back though, you really can't tell a difference to which is, you can tell a difference if you're up close, but from this distance you can't tell. So it's a bit like I should have just stuck to one, either indigo or the black Inktense blocks. Really love these, and a little bit later on you'll see I actually add water to them, but not the whole thing. I just kind of add a little bit of water to it. I was really excited about this, and I thought I would. So the night before I went out and I actually painted these 2 pages because I wanted it nice and bright and then have the indigo or the black really kind of stand out on top of it. So all the background is, so the yellow is actually a fluorescent paint I've got. The pink is an acrylic ink, a fluoro acrylic ink, and then the other 2 are just a blue and a green acrylic ink that I've got in FW, and I just kind of put it all over, and the Inktense blocks work really well on top of that surface. They do struggle a little bit on thicker acrylic paint, so the more plasticky it is, they do struggle a little bit to get that pigment down. It's not impossible, but it's a little bit more trickier. They do work a lot better when you've got like a bare paper, like with most pastel-y type materials. So yeah, here we go. Getting nearly towards the end of my first page. You'll see that I actually probably didn't, I didn't do any measuring. So you can see I started off the thumbnails really small, but then went, oh my gosh, I've got this big gap at the bottom. I'm going to do them a lot bigger. Admittedly, I think this was a bit too much to bite off in one hit. I think if you're going to do this, do a few each day, or just one page each day of the thumbnails, or do them a lot smaller. I don't know. So here you can go, you could see I'm just adding the water. So I'm starting with the ones that are indigo, I think. Maybe they're black ones. I don't know. I think they're indigo, the top and in the third line. That one there that I'm doing right now is actually a capybara with a bird on its head. And when you get told that, you can actually see it. I love it. It's so good. I was also trying to use more dynamic poses, something a bit different. I do a lot of like bird heads, so I thought, well, what's something a bit different I can do? And on the second page, there's a lot more dynamic. I actually do quite a few birds flying, which I think they're so much more interesting. But yeah, so here I am adding some water to it. All my reference pictures for these two pages are from a website that I've recently discovered, thanks to ChatGPT, got me onto it. It's called Wiki Commons, and it's basically a website where people can put up photos that are essentially royalty free. So they're allowing people to use those photos however they like. I really love it. I think it's really great. They use a lot of what they call share alike. So it's like, we're giving it to you. You can't then go sell it. You have to share it the same way that we're sharing it. So if you give it away, you've actually got to give it away, not sell it. Now this page is, I cut out a lot more of it because I shouldn't have changed the angle of the camera. For most of it, all you could see was my arm in the way. And I just thought, nobody really wants to see that. Now, I'm also going to apologise here. I actually use a fancy microphone. It's a Samsung microphone I bought years ago. It's fairly old. But I've noticed lately when I do my voiceovers, there's like an echo. And I don't know how to fix it or change it or adjust it. If you have some tips for me, let me know, because I've been listening back to the audio and it's got that echo and it really annoys me. So if you know how to fix it, just let me know in the comments, and I hope it doesn't bother you guys too much. I'm hoping to upgrade some of my equipment soon, and when I do that, I should be able to not have to worry about that. If you've got some recommendations for equipment, that'd be awesome. I'm thinking the Osmosis or something, which actually has its own removable microphone, which I'm a little bit excited about. So yeah, so if you've got tips on equipment or how I can fix the echo, I've tried to record in different places and stuff, it's just not working. Anyway, so here we go. I've just finished applying all the water here, which is kind of nice. I only had this little scabby bit of water left at the bottom of my jar. Here we are on day 3, where I'm doing some non-dominant hand landscapes, which works well for my camera angle because my arm's not in the way. I got this new packet of oil pastels by Mungio. They're soft oil pastels, and I really wanted to try them out and also have a little play around with different color palettes and just see how it goes. Now, I am not a brown fan. I don't like it. So I'm like, I've got 4 or 5 browns there. Let's just see if I can find a way where maybe I like them. The verdict is I still don't like brown. Now, with any of these prompts, you can change any of it. Don't feel like you've got to stick with what I'm doing. So for this left-handed one, I'm trying to push myself with subject matter. That's why I picked landscapes. If you want to do animals, do animals. If you want to do flowers, do flowers. Don't feel like you've got to do exactly the same as me. For this one, I was using Map Crunch for my reference photos. Now, if you go on, they give you a random spot in the world. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're really average, and so you just hit there's a little go button at the top and it gives you a different random place in the world. They're not copyright free pictures or images. It's like almost like Google Maps, and when you're on Street View and you can walk along the street and stuff, that's what it's like. So they're not copyright free images, but for a sketchbook, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. So jump on there. Sometimes I would go to specific countries. You can actually change the settings in Map Crunch so that when it gives you a random place, you can pick a particular country, or you can pick a particular continent or place in the world and things like that. This prompt to this day, I was just having so much fun. The Mungio pastels are beautiful to work with. The only other oil pastels I've got are a pack of Holbein student grade pastels, and they're just very hard, and you've got to press really hard to get a lot of pigment. These were heaps softer. They were really nice. So I'm going to be using these a lot. I'm going to leave them in the pack as long as I can because I don't want them getting all dirty and scabby and things like that. So, yeah. So here, this one I was doing a bit of a monochromatic type thing with just green. And I was trying not to colour everything in, so leave a fair bit of negative space. You can see there wasn't much in the background there. And then, so this is a sketchbook that I'm working in now that I actually created myself. I made this one. Actually, I think most of the ones I work in this video, if not all sketchbooks, I have actually made myself. And I alternated each signature with paper. And it's sketchbook paper. There's nothing fancy about the paper I've used, and then craft paper. And they're both by Artec. They're quite thin. They're very lightweight papers. So I think there's about 4 or 5 pages per signature. And then you double it because you fold it. So it's actually quite a big book. I don't have many landscape orientation sketchbooks. I kind of don't feel the need for them. But I thought I want to start getting into a bit more landscapes. So I've made a few. There's a A4 one I was thinking about using, and then I didn't. So this is just an A5 landscape orientation sketchbook. These 2 pages I'm working on right now actually ended up my 2 favourite pages from this little expedition. Mainly because of the colours, I think. I used colours that really worked well together. So like in the one I'm doing now, the light was actually this really lovely pale yellow that's in the set. Really liked it. I wasn't a maxi fan. I shouldn't have coloured the sky. I should have left it blank. Is really what I should have done here, but I didn't, and then I didn't like it, so I was trying to layer up some colours, and then I was going to try and introduce some grey, and it just didn't work out. So I put a little bit of, that was white there that I picked up and put back, but, so, yeah, I kind of wish I had left the sky just the colour of the paper. I think that would have been a lot more effective. And you can see this, the darker pink in this picture, I love it. It's such a good colour, and it goes with so many other colours. It just goes with everything. And I know I love yellow. Yellow is my favourite, but yellow has its massive limitations. So you'll see I'll go back to this magenta pink colour quite regularly. So yeah, you'll see that I end up using that same magenta colour in quite a few palettes. Yeah, and again, I'm using it here. See how it looks so good with that blue, and when it mixes together a little bit, it makes a really cool purple. Anyway, I was just having a play around and trying some different landscapes here. You'll see in a minute I start using some buildings, including some buildings. Not a big fan of how the buildings turn out, but we try things, we play, and that's what our whole sketchbook is about. Anyway, this one's a bit longer than the other one, so I might just let you watch and enjoy. Day 4, we have collage birds. So I've been intrigued by collage for a little while now, and I literally over the last few days before this point was just making a heap of collage papers in kind of a bit of a minimal, what's the word I'm looking for? In a reduced palette? No. Anyway, with just these particular colours and mixes in these colours, trying to make sure I've got my tonal range from light to dark. I've even got some black there, which I only used sparingly. I only wanted slight little bits of black. So I decided to do some collages of some birds because I'm quite familiar with birds, so I thought with a new strategy technique, I thought I might try a familiar subject. So which is why I've stuck with the birds, because I do quite a few different birds. This first one I did, the penguin, I was pretty proud of it when I first did it, but it's quite static. It's a bit too perfect for my liking. So the other collages I do after this one, they're a bit more looser and messier, and I like that. I think that looks so much better. It's more on brand for me. So here we go. Here's my little chicken. I'm going to start now. And no, I wasn't a massive fan of this reddish colour I used. It was actually a fluorescent paint, but when I painted it on that brown paper of the shopping bag, it just went really dark. So it looks like more like a red. So yeah, I was just trying to do it. I was trying to be as loose as I could, not draw out each piece before I cut them out, and just stick them on and see how I go. And I actually really liked when I loosened up a bit how well it turned out. So this is the type of thing I think I'm going to have to keep trying again and again to really find how my style fits with this medium. It's really cool. I like it. It's a good way to be able to work out your colour palette and things that work together before you even start the artwork. This sketchbook I'm working in right now is an altered sketchbook. So it's a sketchbook that I got from an op shop, and then I ripped out every second page. I actually read it first. It was an alright crime novel. I think I've spoken about it in my altered sketchbook video. I'll tag that below if you want to have a watch. Oh, we zoomed in. Nice. Good, because we couldn't see what was happening, Courtney. So this is my altered sketchbook. I actually really like it for doing work. It's a great way to put the pressure off because it's not expensive. I think this book cost me $2. I read it first, so like it's had double the life. And then the pages that I rip out, I use them for collage papers. So you can see that pink on the chicken's head. It's actually a book page that I've painted over. So I keep all my stuff and I either recycle it or repurpose it. So nothing just goes to waste kind of thing. Yeah, and I really like the hardcover books. So that's why I use this one. Anyways, after this one, I do the picture that I use actually has two budgies almost touching their beaks. I say kissing. So I did them on 2 pages. Here we go, we're starting. And they're 2 different colours. And I actually really like these one. This one's my favourite. That's what I mean. I think if I did it more and more and more, I would get looser and try new things and just work out how to do it. Yeah. So I'll put some music on again and let you enjoy. Day 5. That was a bit abrupt. I'm sorry. Obviously today this video has just been the video for losing footage. I don't know where the end of that making those birds were, but anyway, I'll show you at the end how they turned out. Now, this one, I was really trying something new here. So I'm using blind contour drawing. That's where you only look at the reference picture and not at your drawing. Although I cheated quite a bit because I just wanted to see how it was going and where I was and placement and things. So I think if I did this one again, I would do it without cheating as much. Now, my little sketchbook here is one that I've made. It's just made of craft paper, and it's just a little, I think it's A5, A6. It's an A6 size sketchbook, just craft paper the whole way through. It's one that I had for sale on my shop, but it just wasn't selling, and on the cover it's got a couple of marks, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to use it as mine. And it can be my little chuck it in your bag, take it with you on the go thing. This book that I'm drawing from is actually a book that I got from an op shop. A thrift store, some people call it. Not convenience. It's not a convenience store. It's a charity shop. And this one that I go to, it's in Candos in New South Wales. It's got the most amazing book selection. Like, it's epic. And I got this book a little while ago for the reason to draw from it. And it's just a book all with flower arrangements in it. So there's some coloured, there's some black and white. But I just thought, cool, like, let's just draw some flower arrangements. Because again, I'm trying to push myself out of just doing animals as my subject matter. So I really started these. And you know what? I did a couple in this little one. And I was like, oh, I think I need to go bigger. And you'll see in a minute I get out a bigger sketchbook. And at the time when I looked at these, I was like, oh no, I hate them. They literally just look like scribbles. Just look like scribbles, which is what regularly happens when you're unfamiliar with your subject matter when you start blind contour drawing. You get better and better at it. So I'm actually really good at blind contour drawing with most animals, but that's just because I'm so practiced at it, and you do get better at it. Even ugly art, you get better at doing ugly art, funnily enough. So I enjoyed doing these, don't get me wrong, but, well, not even a but. There's no but there. I enjoyed doing these because I was playing and exploring, and that's the whole point of a sketchbook. The thing is I learnt a lot, which is the whole point again. You play, you learn, you improve, you just change things, you do whatever you want. So the more I did this, the more I learnt, but also at the time, I hated these drawings. I hated these because they literally, for me, when I looked at them, they just looked like scribbles on a page. And looking back now, I think the bit that I didn't like about it is because it's so busy. And because that was the only thing I could see is the busyness of these drawings, I didn't notice the details. And now looking back, I look and go, oh, look at I actually really like how I did those flowers. And I actually like how you can see the pot and how they're coming out of the pot and the leaves and things like that interacting together and next to each other. And really kind of the composition. I really like some of that stuff. So yeah, they are really busy, but I also really like how some of these turned out. And for my first ever flower bouquets, winning at life. 15-second ink drawings. I actually really loved doing this. I love working with ink, and I love doing time drawings. So I wasn't a massive fan of this sepia ink that I've got, but I'm trying to use up some of the stuff that I've got too. So I added a bit of green into it in the second one. So I did a couple of fish, and then the rest are just birds. So I do this exercise in my workshops, and we basically start with 1 minute. So I get everyone to draw the same picture 4 times. The first time you get a minute, second time you get 30 seconds, the third time you get 15 seconds, and then the last time you get 5 seconds. And without a doubt, every single time, I love my 5-second drawings the most. And doing it with charcoal is really cool. But the brush is good too, because you get a variation of line. That bird there I love, because that stroke of the neck just really represented that bird really well. So these 2 birds here are actually my 2 favourites out of all of them. I think they're just cool. And this one I love that I got a real variation in lines. So I've got some really thin lines, but then also some like really thick lines as well. And you can see that detail. You can't really tell it's a bird, but anyway. I did some smaller ones as well in my little craft book that I used earlier. And you say I was just having fun. And the best thing about this, it's 15 seconds. It doesn't take very long at all to do. So, I could do 2 or 3, 4, 5, and I've only taken 2 minutes. And I love it. So, yeah, I'm using this green. I think this is an Atelier acrylic ink. I'm not a big fan of their acrylic ink. I think it's very binder heavy, and I think that's why. And so when it dries really shiny, and so I'm not a massive fan of it. But I'm just going to use up what I've got, because I'm not about wasting. I don't want to waste anything. And all these references I have a bird book that I've got. So again, they're not copyright-free images, but for a sketchbook work, I think they're fine. And I wanted to really play around with, would these be saleable? Like, could I do something like this and sell them? Because I actually really love playing around with ink and applying ink in different ways and things like that. I cheated a couple of times and went over the 15 seconds, but only by a few seconds, I promise. This is my big recycled bags sketchbook that I've made. I picked probably the wrong page to use green, because there was already the big green Woolworths symbol on it. So when I did the bird, I was like, you can't actually see it. So I got some fluid acrylic paint to do it, another layer. On the camera, you can see it really well, but in real life, and you'll see at the end when I show you, all my sketches, you can't see it very well. It's not very visible. So I might even work on that one again and put another few layers on top. But this paper of these bags is amazing to work on with paint, with drawing, with anything. It's just a really nice texture for paper. I wish they just made a pad of paper out of these bags, basically. Welcome to day 7 of my art as therapy drawing each day. Before I get into my final thoughts, you might realize day 7 I haven't actually shown you any of the processes. I had a very small issue where I actually lost the footage for it. So I went to edit and I got up to this day and realized that it was missing. It was all just missing, no idea where it was. So here I am. I'm just going to show you the drawings instead. So I'll show you the one, because I've been working a lot in Bruce over this week, more than normal, which has been nice because I really kind of want to fill up Bruce. Maybe I must have only done one. I can't even think of what it was. So here we go. I did a bird chewing on a thing, and this is one of my scribble drawings where you get a pen and you literally scribble. The pen I used was literally, I used a ballpoint pen, my Lemmy ballpoint pen, and my Lemmy, and then I added some of the blue Lemmy, my actual fountain pen, over the top, just to, I don't know, add a bit of interest. Really nice way to finish out the week. Sorry I lost the footage of that,
My bad. Let's have a look at each day, what I did and the artworks I did on those days.
Here's day one. Remember that was going out into the garden outside. Really love this. I love how the whole sketchbook spread looks. This was the animal silhouettes, thumbnail silhouettes. Really like how these turned out too. I'm going to say that probably about for everything anyway. I love the indigo intense on that fluoro pink. It's just so stunning. So amazing. This was day 3. This was the landscape, left-handed. Well, for me it's left-handed, non-dominant hand landscapes with my Mungio. I hope I say that right. Soft pastels. That spread's my favourite. I love them. I think it's the colours and just how it looks. It's amazing. Those really olivey browns and stuff. Not a massive fan of it. But yeah, I quite like that purpley one too. But yeah, and here's the last one of these landscapes. I think. Nope, one more. The buildings are a bit how you going, but I had a lot of fun. These are the collages. My bird collages, my penguin, my budgies. There's the finished product, and then my chicken. And here are the blind contour drawing flower arrangements. Here's the ones I did in my little book. I think there's one before that page and I forgot to film it. Sorry, my bad. These are the larger ones I did. That's the one that went across the 2 pages. Yeah, and you can see what I mean. Like, see those roses on the right? They're cool. Anyway, they've turned out a lot better than I thought they had at the time. Really cool. And here are all my 15-second ink drawings. Those 2 of the birds. They're not in order, I'm sorry. I just kind of did them. That's in my recycled bag sketchbook. This was in my fish altered sketchbook. My 2 favourites, those ones. And did I show the fish? Hopefully I did. No, I didn't. Here's the Scribble drawing that I lost the footage for. My apologies.
How do I feel at the end of this week? To be honest with you, this week didn't have quite the effect that I wanted to. Early in the week it was really great. It was beneficial. I was coming home and I was going, no, before I do anything I need to go out and draw because I'm going to lose light. The problem with this was making this a YouTube video. At the end of the week, after 7 days of doing at least half an hour, I had like 3.5 hours worth of footage to edit. That's the bit that was taxing on me in order to make this YouTube video. So the whole idea of this, the drawing every day, the habit of drawing every day is brilliant. You don't even have to set yourself a prompt. The prompts are really only if you just don't know what to do. But if you already know what you love doing, you love getting out in the garden, do that every day for 10 minutes. The bit that was taxing on me around this process was the fact that I had so much footage to edit. So I normally have quite a bit of footage to edit. This was about 3 times the amount of footage to edit. So it took me hours and hours and hours, and this week I just didn't have the time. So it was actually the recording of it that was taxing, and by the end of the week it was like, I don't even want to do this because it's just more footage to edit. So the activity itself, the drawing every day, brilliant, great, love it. I'm going to try to keep doing this more just for fun, not for the sake of a video, just for fun for myself. I've actually found a little group of people on Instagram that we've connected. One of the girls that I follow had this great idea to make a little group, be accountable for each other. Joined them, and that's been really great because it's just some really positive feedback from other people, and you know, we're all in the same boat. So if we only manage a little pen scribble, that's okay, because that's still drawing. So there's a lot less pressure. And that's what my big thing with ugly art and sketchbook art is about releasing the pressure on yourself to create something amazing and beautiful and refined and perfect for the world. It is just for you to play and explore and take that pressure off having to try sell it or trying to have to impress people with it. And I felt like this week it missed the mark simply for the fact that I had to make a YouTube video. So I had to drag my camera around with me and record it, and I had to make sure the angles weren't great for a lot of it. So it's been hard actually. This has been harder than I thought it would. But what I might actually do is do this again, but instead of really documenting every single day like I have, just kind of do me talking about how I feel after a month of drawing every day without prompts, no prompts. I don't know about you guys, but I find prompts really, they put so much pressure on me, because it's like, oh, I have to do the prompt this day. So we're coming up to October, and I've taken the screenshot of both Peachtober and Inktober, their prompt lists, and I thought I'm going to try to do it. But I am now wondering whether maybe I just need to not, because that type of pressure makes me not want to draw. Makes me not want to get out my sketchbook, because I'm like, I have to do it this day, and then I get really hard on myself when I don't do it that day. And yeah, it's just so I'm gonna try this again down the track, but instead of doing specific prompts on the days, I'm literally just going to do a week of drawing. And because you know what, today, and I think that may be why, maybe I forgot to hit record, but I don't think that's the case. I like scribble drawing. I don't find it a really relaxing process. So I wasn't overly excited for it, but I had to think of a prompt and I couldn't think of anything else. So it's a bit like, again, that pressure, putting that pressure on myself. Does it have to be 7 different prompts? No. Can it be the same prompt every single day? Yeah, for sure. If I want to do 2 or 3 bird silhouettes, go for it. I did try to push myself with subject matter, and I found that fine. That was fine. I enjoyed doing the blind contour bouquets. I learned a lot from it, which is kind of the point of playing. You learn, you have fun. It's hard to read because the bouquets that I used and the flower arrangements were very busy, but I think I've already probably mentioned that. Anyway, so thank you for joining me. I love drawing every day, but can I just suggest, if you do this, do not put pressure on yourself. If you are the type of person who thrives on a prompt list, make yourself a prompt list. Go for it. Use my 7-day prompt list. Go for it. Change the subject matter. If you're not an animal drawer, you like landscapes, do it all landscapes. And just do a different strategy, a different technique each day. Go for it. But if you're like me and you struggle with prompts and you struggle with that super structuredness and you end up putting a lot of pressure on yourself, just do what you want to do. Do what lights you up. Do what makes you happy. Don't do it for other people. And I think that for me this week, even though it was like, yeah, I'm gonna do sketchbook work for my mental health, it really wasn't. This week was for a YouTube video. My end goal was a YouTube video, because yeah, I would have done it very differently, and I'm going to be doing it differently from here on. So don't put the pressure on yourself. You know you best. Do what works for you. Don't worry about anyone else. Okay? Right? That's the moral of today's story. You don't have to post it anywhere. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love you, legends. Don't forget to tag me over on Instagram if you do any of these. I'd love to see your work. Yeah, so don't be afraid to tag me in your reels, your posts, whatever. I want to see what you create for your mental health this week. Stay crazy. Love yous. Bye.